We are live.
Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to the East Hampton Town Architectural Review Board meeting, July 23rd, 2020. I'd like to open the meeting with the approval of the minutes from the last meeting of July 9th, 2020. Do I have a second on the minutes, Peter?
Aye.
All in favor? Chip?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Esperanza?
Yes.
Great. All right, I'd like to start with the first line of application is a business sign for Wynwood Construction Management Corp., tax map number 300-200-3-30, 6th Association Road in Wainscott, and that would be Esperanza. If you'd read into the record what the application is for, please.
Certainly. This is a proposed sign proposed by Windward Construction Management Corporation at a size of 18 by 24. So it's 3 square feet, single-sided. They scared me on the application because it says 18 feet by 24 feet. So I was apprehensive about that because this is a residential area and it's basically just a construction sign. So that is the design.
Okay. I thought it was interesting that they gave you the actual scale of the sign in your packet, so you could actually see the sign in its totality.
Yes, I could have almost had helpers spread it out and put it in the place. So if Derek could just show where they're proposing, I believe, according to when I drove into, this is the residential area of the Georgica Association. It's almost, it's like one house in the association on the right, and where they've indicated there the proposed sign is a spot where actually right now they have these little picket fences in the middle of the road to slow traffic down. The actual driveway entrance for this property, as you see on the survey, is a little farther up where there's a forked driveway. And I just wondered why not put it closer to the entrance there, as opposed to it being, of course, obviously they want it maybe more visible from, I don't know, the entrance to the association. I don't know. But it's a temporary sign, so.
Well, it depends, you know, it's temporary, but it could even be there for 2 years.
Exactly. Yes, agreed. And
do you find where they're placing it offensive, or do you think that the neighbors would find it offensive there, and you would maybe recommend to the builder to put it closer to the driveway? Where is the driveway?
You see on the survey where there's a forked sort of driveway, so it has 2 entrances.
No,
around where the arrows are for. Yes,
right.
So
it's further in, is what you're saying. Yes.
So my inclination, and Derek can show pictures that I took, would be to put it farther in, sort of past that curve. This is the entrance driveway right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is, I think, approximately where they are proposing. And then I have one more picture that I believe I took there. So that's as you're coming in, and you see the little picket fence there, and where there's a little white post further up ahead on near the curb, I think is sort of in that area where they're proposing the sign.
Why don't they put it inside the Y driveway?
That's what that's what I'm suggesting would be maybe more appropriate. I don't see the reason why they need to really put it any closer to the entrance of Association Road. And I understand then maybe they think that more people will see it who don't, you know, that are not just residents, but otherwise it's just residents that are going to see it primarily.
Right. My feeling is that the residents on that road would probably prefer that it is in the driveway as opposed to on that corner curb.
Definitely.
I agree.
Jameson, can we ask them to do that? Can we approve the sign but not the location?
Yes, they're gonna have to come back for
the location then, because you'll have to vote on the location.
Mm.
But you could either table it, you could make a motion, but then have to make a second motion. I was hoping someone would call in so they could have the discussion right now.
Yes.
Michael, is there anyone on the line?
No, there are currently no callers on the line. I'll interrupt if you want in the future when that happens.
Okay. So, does anybody have any, besides Esperanza and Chip and myself who, made a mention about the location? Peter and Diane, do you have any feelings on this?
I agree with Esperanza in thinking.
Okay. Peter?
I mean, I was just there last night, so it would be awkward. You wouldn't know to what property it was attached.
Right.
It was floating around.
Right.
What
I
about
just think also too, I'm sorry, go ahead, Peter.
I was wondering how high is the sign off the ground? Is it
Yeah,
on
that's
a
another
post?
question. Hmm.
I think all they've shown is the sign.
Correct.
I'd like to know how it's mounted. Is it on a 6-foot post?
Right. Or is it just on a stake that goes in the ground?
Right.
I think that this is important enough to ask for more information. I think we could have staff reach out to the applicant and say that we have no problem with the sign as presented, but we have concern about the location and questions about the mounting. And we'll table it.
That's good. I think we should table it. If they're watching, they could call back.
Right, and we'll be happy to entertain that call. Do you agree, Esperanza?
I do agree with that. Yes, we definitely need more information. I don't think the sign itself is it's a perfectly decent normal size. It's not obtrusive that way. I would also just suggest and note to Derek that in the application, and I know it says 3 square feet, but just where it says number and size, it does say 18 feet by 24 feet instead of inches. So just a note about that in case there's any error in future.
Okay. So we're going to table this for the location and for the
Mounting.
mounting. Okay. Fences, walls, and berms. Bernarda Beltry, tax map number 300-76-2-669 Gardner Avenue in East Hampton. Peter.
This is an application for it just says, children secure, right? Could you put on the survey or what they've submitted for the plan?
Do you remember this, Peter?
Oh, yes, I've been there 3 or 4 times already.
Right. She came back to us the last time and we asked her if she could draw on the survey and make it more clear what she's asking for.
Chair, if I may, there are 2 callers on the line.
And who might they be?
I don't know them by name until they come on live, so I can bring them in one at a time, the order in which
Please
they
do.
called. Here comes the
Okay.
first one right now. I'm unmuting them. Caller, you're live
Hi,
with the
this is
ARB.
Jill Papora from Windward Construction.
Great. I'm sorry, what was your name?
Jill Papora from Windward Construction.
Jill,
We're
okay, great.
about our sign permit.
Okay. Hold on 1 minute, Jill. Michael, are you able to go, if we
Okay.
take Jill, can you go to the other caller and just ask them to hold on and see who it is while we do this?
They need to come on live on the air to introduce
Okay.
themselves
Let's
first.
see who's on it. We'll tell them,
Just a moment,
where
please.
they're on the agenda.
Okay, just a moment, please.
This is Howard Williams with 101 Accabonac. We're the next item on the agenda.
Right. Okay. So we're gonna jump back, Howard, to our first one. So if you'll hang on, we'll be with you in a few minutes. Okay.
We are here and ready.
Great. Thank you. Okay. So Jill. Hi.
Yes.
Thank you for
Hi,
calling in. Okay, so you obviously, did you hear us about the location and the mounting?
I didn't, no, I'm sorry. Do you,
She didn't hear us.
Jill, are you there?
yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can. Were you watching to hear our conversation about our concern about the location and how the sign was going to be mounted?
No, I didn't hear anything. Can you repeat it?
Okay. Yes, I'll have Esperanza tell you.
Hi, Jill. So the discussion was basically regarding the location, the proposed location of the sign. The consensus of the board is that we have no issue with the design or the size of the single-sided sign, but the proposed location it could be discussed, and then also how it's actually going to be mounted, at what height, for instance, and whether it's 2 posts, 1 post, or what. So if you could answer those questions, please.
Yeah, it's probably just going to be, sure, it's just going to be 2 PVC posts, and let me see, I think, let's see what I put on here for the height. Let's see. It's an 18 by 24 inch sign, and I don't think I put the height of how high it's going to be on there. It didn't ask for that on the proposal. Do you need to know that?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm gonna have to double check. It's just like a standard, construction job site sign, so I'll have to check with Fisher Signs to see how high they'll have to mount it.
Okay.
Well, do we as a board have a preference for how high it should be? And we can have them meet that height?
Yeah, I was going to suggest we could also say, if the board's okay with the size, and then you do a not to exceed.
Right.
4 feet, 5 feet.
Yeah, if you
Not familiar with these types of.
Yeah, if you tell me whatever you want it mounted, the height you want it mounted at, I can just have our guys do that. That would be no problem.
Is it 18 inches high or is it 24 inches high? Is it 24 and then it's 24 wide and 18 high?
It's 18 inches high, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah. So I would recommend that the sign does not exceed 4 feet. That will give you
4 feet
more than
high.
2
Okay.
feet off the ground.
Yeah,
I'd go even lower.
I
Okay,
would
we can
too,
do that.
I think. Thank you, Peter.
So
So
what would it be,
less?
3
3
feet?
feet?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just a construction sign.
Right.
correct.
Okay, are you okay with that, Jill? That it's no higher than 3 feet from the grade to the top of the sign?
Yeah, that should be fine. It's just a construction sign, for us to put the building permit and our contact information and everything. So
Yeah.
nothing more than 3 feet high, correct?
Right.
So the
Okay.
next question with regard to the location, we were suggesting it would be better located at the entrance driveway, unless you were planning on having a construction driveway in the location that you were proposing.
So you'd rather have it on the entrance. Okay.
Well, if you're having a building permit also on, the back side of it or alongside of it, then it really should be at the entrance to the property. And to
At the entrance.
Esperanza's point, unless you're creating a driveway where all the trucks and construction vehicles are going to be going in and out of. We just think that that's not a very friendly place to put it for the neighborhood.
And also to indicate exactly where the property is, because it's a really large lot. So you actually drive a ways to then finally arrive at the driveway. So anybody actually looking for this construction site would be confused by seeing this sign so much farther up.
Okay, so you want us to put it at the entrance then?
Yes.
please.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
All right,
All
fantastic.
right, so we got that.
Do we need to
straightened out. Thank
revise,
you.
do we need to revise all of this and resend it in, or will you approve it?
No, we're just gonna,
on
we're
what
going
we
to
discussed.
approve, we're going to make a motion to approve the sign based on the location as well as the height and the size of the sign. And you'll have a resolution on that next week.
Can I make
Okay, perfect.
Go ahead, Jensen.
we're lucky because on the survey, which is up on the screen, on the forks in the driveway, there's an arrow right there, that black arrow.
Mhm.
Is somewhere in the region of that arrow on the south side, are we talking about somewhere around there?
Yes,
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
Because that we can easily highlight if everyone, including the applicant, is agreeing that that's, doesn't have to be precise since it's temporary, but we'll highlight that in the file so that we know exactly where we're talking about.
and that would be the south arrow, correct?
Yeah. So Jill, can you see the screen?
Yep.
Is that okay? You see where we're talking about, that arrow there?
I'm only on the phone. I can't see anything on the screen. I'm looking at the survey now, though.
Yeah,
I
I'm
have my
sure
own
she's
copy.
going to say it.
Yeah, so if you have the survey, so we're talking about the arrow on the south side of the road on the west fork of the entrance, the west fork of the driveway. So just approximately somewhere in that region, if that works for you.
Right, in that vicinity.
Okay. We can make that work.
Great.
All right.
I think we have everything.
So we'll get an approval based upon the location and the height.
Right. And if you want to stay on the phone with
Okay.
us until we finish, you'll hear what the resolution's going to read, because Esperanza is going to read it and make a motion and read it into the record, okay?
Okay,
Okay.
ready?
All right. So I can stay on the phone. That's no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, I make a motion to approve this application. As submitted, a single-sided 18 by 24 inch sign, which will be at a height not to exceed 3 feet. And the location will be near the western fork of the entrance driveway to the property.
Right.
Northwest, southwestern. Yeah, no, just western. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Do I get a second, Peter?
Second,
All in favor, Chip?
Yes.
Yes, Diane?
Yes.
And Betsy? Aye. Okay. Thank you, Jill. Thanks for calling in and getting that
Okay.
straightened out
Thank you
with us.
so much.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. So we'll go back to Bernarda Beltry, tax map number 300-76-2-639 Gardner Avenue in East Hampton, Peter. If you can read into the record what the application is for.
the application is for a fencing around the property, right? And I only have the first page of the application, and it just says children secure. The survey has some hand drawings on it, which are not very clear, as to where it is. There are a series of photographs. The property has this stockade fencing, has already been built. It exceeds the 6 feet along 6th Street. And the drawing that is marked up on the survey, which is 5 years old, is not very clear. My recommendation would be to table this and have them submit an accurate survey with an accurate location of the existing fences that they're asking for approval for.
Okay. There's another markup or mock-up on this type of survey, Derek? Can you go to it where there's some more drawings on it?
Hold on one second. That survey was able because there was.
Yeah, there was another one where she actually wrote proposed 6-foot gate. She said that there's a 4-foot gate in the front. And we're also missing the second page of the application, but that could just have been a clerical issue on
No, that
Friday.
she came before the board before, but the resubmission, there was no back page. Let me see if I can find the survey.
Peter, do you have that other page that I'm referencing?
I have one which is even less clear than the one that's on the screen. All right.
Well, I think the one, there's a point I'm looking to make, if we can just find that.
You know, I don't.
So how tall was the stockade fence along 6th Street?
6'6".
Okay, so we can't approve that.
And it's not in the location that the drawing that I have, right, as says. It's 6'6" on 6th Street and goes down to 6'2" along it. That also indicates a 4-foot fence facing Gardner's Avenue, but that fence is not there. There's a 6-foot fence further back. The drawings do not reflect what has actually been built.
Okay, so you'd like to table this?
Yes. Until they submit a survey which reflects what has been built in the correct location. And we can also note that we could not approve any fencing over 6 feet.
Right. And if she were to call in, we might be able to get a clearer understanding, because a lot of times what happens is the applicant doesn't want to get a new survey until all the fencing work is done, because then it just costs more money to go back. And I guess Derek wasn't able to find that one marked up survey that we had asked her to do, where it shows that she's proposing a 6-foot towards the back of the plane of the house by 6th Street, and also by the front plane of the house, there's a proposed 4-foot. So let's just table this until we can either get her back on with us or get us more information, okay?
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
You think someone needs to sit with her? I don't think she quite understands the nature of what she's sending into us, given how casual.
She was before us. I don't know if you were with us, Chip, but when we were having live meetings, and we asked her to, it was very unclear, and we asked her to mark up a mock-up and show us what she was looking for, which is a copy that I made out of Jameson's file, but it's obviously not in Derek's file. So and because of the one side being over 6 feet, we're gonna have to table this. We can't. Okay. Okay.
But to Chip's point, if I can help in any way, because I think there was also a language barrier, if I recall. So if there's any assistance that I can provide, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Esperanza, because that's what Derek said as well, that I think it's still, there was a more of a language barrier than anything else.
Yes.
And we did find the marked up version. We have the hard copy. We don't have it digitally, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because it, as to Peter's point, that also it's built a little too high already. That gives us a cushion to, like, we need to table it.
Right, so we can and ask them to come back to us with either a more clearer drawing in addition to what Derek has, but doesn't have it on the smart board, and that we need to have a conversation and ask them to call in at the next meeting. Okay,
So maybe when Derek usually does, when he reaches out and says that something was tabled and for them to contact him when they're ready to come back, he will make a note to copy Esperanza on the email so we can get a conversation going.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be glad to meet with Esperanza and her and discuss.
Yes,
what's
exactly. I was just
needed.
going to suggest. Okay, good.
Thank you,
great,
everyone.
thank you. All right, I'm going to move on. Howard Williams, tax map number 300-163-7-9.1, 101 Acabonic Road in East Hampton.
Chair, if I
Yes.
may, we still have that caller on hold. That was
Howard, correct?
yes. I'm gonna
Great.
unmute him now if you'd like.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Howard?
We are here. Hello.
Great.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. We're going to read your application into the record. Thank you, Diane.
Okay, this is an application for a decorative brick wall on the side of the house fashioned off of the old Parish Museum wall in Southampton. The mason built the middle section at 7 foot 7 inches to accommodate a bronze window insert, and it is in front of the house line within the setback and historically accurate for the period. What I would like to point out is that this is not a fence in any way, shape, or form. This is purely a decorative wall. And if you could go back to the first photograph, please. Thank you. The fence that is in front of the house on Acabonic is very pristine and white and only 4 feet. This is on the side of the building, on the left side of the building. You can see it peeking out from there. If you go through the photographs, Derek, I took a picture standing on Acabonic Road, and it's a rather narrow driveway. And okay, this is standing on Acabonic Road. I'm on the pavement. So if you can see the outside of the wall if you really, really look. But as it is not a fence, and as this very detailed application was submitted with excellent photos and backup material, I don't think I've never had a situation like this, but as it is a decorative garden wall and it's very beautifully done, I'd like the other opinions, but as it is not a fence, I would hope we could find a way to approve this.
Well, let's ask Jameson. Jameson, are we able to approve an up to 8 feet in this location? It's behind the plane of the house, correct?
Yes, behind the plane of the house. It's not a fence.
Yes.
Could you put on the survey, please?
I think also, can we ask the caller to mute their TV, because I think that's what we're hearing.
Oh, I did mute the TV. I think it's, but I can go off the phone.
Zoom in if you can. Yeah.
Here it is.
Okay, here it is. So yeah,
Jameson, can we approve up to 8 feet in that location of a brick wall?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
It's beyond the front plane of the house.
Right.
You're in the side yard. You're inside your territory.
And it's very beautifully made and very thoughtful, and everything about the house is very correct otherwise. And unless there's any other questions.
Well, I just have some questions about the fencing that goes around the property. What's the height on the sides and the back? I know you mentioned 4 feet in the front, but what about the sides and the back?
Well,
Is that a question for us? I can speak to that.
Okay.
We do have a 4 foot, we have a complete perimeter fence, and it is 4 foot along the front of Acabonic, as well as the return up to the front plane of the house, in which point it then turns into a 6 foot perimeter fence, the rest of the perimeter.
Okay. Is there anything that you're concerned about here, Jameson?
No.
Neither. Okay, does anybody have any other questions on this?
I think it's an incredibly beautiful house and I've admired it for years.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Diane, go ahead, honey.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Howard, for submitting such a fine application. And I make a motion that we accept this application as submitted.
Can I get a second? Peter,
Second,
all in favor? Esperanza?
Aye.
Chip?
Yes.
Aye. And Betsy, aye. Okay, great. All right, Howard, thank you. You're good to go.
Mm.
What, you made us all smile very much. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Enjoy your garden.
Mhm.
All right, Adam Mackey, tax map number 300-197-1-29.6, 24 Cow Hill Lane in Wainscott, and that is Esperanza. May I ask before you start, Esperanza, is there anybody else on the line? Michael?
Yes, Chair, there is a new caller. I will bring them in right now.
Hi, Betsy. It's Katie from East End Land Planning.
Hi, Katie. What are you on for?
For this application.
For this application, yeah.
Okay, great. All right, Esperanza, if you could read into the record, please.
Yes, this is an application for a 6-foot PVC, white PVC fence to help with removing noise from the pool area. This is a corner lot that is on Cow Hill Lane and Wainscott Northwest is the other corner. So I have taken these pictures to give you a sense. This is the entrance on Cow Hill. And then if you go, the applicant also submitted a bunch of pictures. I took some this week. The corner in question, or the area in question, is where all that vegetation is toward the left of the photograph on the screen, which is toward Wainscott Northwest. So Derek, could you put up that's the corner.
So that's a 6-foot high at the posts?
The proposed fence would be 6 feet high. What is there now is, as you see here, this is a 4-foot maybe fence. Which is
so they're going to put a 6-foot PVC stockade fence. It's not going to be open. It's going to be a stockade fence.
Yeah, it looks
on that corner.
All throughout. And what I was wondering, there is existing wire, 4-foot pool fencing. I just wondered how they're going to deal with the vegetation. This is the look of the fence right here.
I'm going to say this is not a good idea.
Well, I just wondered if they're going to put it inside the property, because I don't even know how you would put this fence anywhere else but inside the property, because if they try to put it outside, it's going to be outside their property line, I'm sure. So maybe.
All right, Kate, do you want to speak to this? Help us here.
So on the
back to the
that
survey.
picture that's up right. So on the existing fence that's on the corner is 4 feet. It's just like a couple slats, and their main concern is the road noise from Wainscott Northwest Road, because it's very loud, and their pool is right there. It's roughly 30 feet away with all that traffic. And then their second concern is the road on Cow Hill Lane. So I don't know I believe if you go to the second page, I have pictures that face south. If you can go to that second page with what I submitted. And the pool fencing there is, you can see it from the road. So on that side, it would be fairly easy to install the fence. And then on the side, the Cow Hill Lane side, some vegetation would have to get removed.
And then have a big white wall.
Yeah. Katie, I'm just going to say it as I see it. Up Island. This is what this is going to look like. Seriously. It is a bright white plastic stockade 6-foot fence in a beautiful area. If they want to put this inside their vegetation, inside their property, I would entertain it a lot easier than along their property line.
Okay.
And would somebody else like to make an opinion on that also, or a statement?
I completely agree with you, Betsy. I just, it's so nice to see the vegetation. I understand the dilemma here, and I do know that there's a lot of traffic. I've walked this. This is my neighborhood. I've walked this a lot. But I don't see that the fence would be an attractive solution.
So if they were to step it in on their property line, so the vegetation was still there, is that something you guys would be?
Yes, if it was inside the vegetation.
Inside the vegetation.
Yes.
Okay. So can we table that
So
and
if
I
you
can
wanna-
go back to my client?
Right, and then if they're in agreement, if you could redo, like mark on the survey where they would place it, that would help us. Okay, great. All right, thanks, Katie.
No.
I
Sorry,
appreciate it.
and just a note also, just to make sure that you mentioned to your client that we may have issues with their entrance, the columns, if we have to look at this.
Yeah, I know they are. Yep. Thank you.
How tall are they?
I would also point out that a 6-foot-high fence is not going to alleviate the sound issue.
They think otherwise that it will help. I mean, it is very noisy, especially on the Wainscott Northwest Road, and now even Cowell Lane is kind of a
I
cut through.
agree, it might well be noisy, but the 6-foot plastic fence will not alleviate that.
Yeah, it's not.
I think what happens when you have a road like that, and of course their pool is there, that they think because it is a stockade and that it like sort of starts from the bottom, that you don't get that ground level noise. But inside, behind their landscaping, much better, much better. Okay, thanks,
So
Katie.
I will. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank
Victor Montano, tax map number 300-120-4-18.2, 47 Crystal Drive, East Hampton, and that's Peter. Is there anyone on the line, Michael?
There are currently no callers, and I will interrupt when one comes in.
Please do, thank you.
This is an application which states shed with no permit. On the second page, it says metal framing, wrapped mahogany, wood, and Versatex, stain on wood, paint on metal, maximum height 6'6". This is a modification for what was originally submitted back in August of 2013. What has been built there does not reflect what the drawings have or what's on the survey. What the drawing indicates was that there was a pedestrian gate to the right, to the left, and some stone posts. I can't quite tell what was there as the original drawing, right? That's not what's there right now. The fence, the gate is at 6'6" high, and the posts go up to, let me see, check my notes. The posts go up to 10 feet right, 7'2" on one side and 7 foot on the other side.
Well, let me just ask Derek to go back to that drawing. Back
Chair,
in
if I may, I'm
2000.
sorry to interrupt. Chair, if I may, there is a caller now on the line. Would you like me to open that up?
Sure.
Thank you. Just a moment, please. Hello, caller. You're live with the ARB.
Hi, I apologize. John Huber calling for the Elon Gabai application, 2 down.
Oh,
All right, we'll put you on hold.
Thank you. I apologize.
That's okay.
all right.
So if you look at this, back in 2013, the ARB approved brick pillars at 7.5 feet.
Really?
So if this was built to that specification, we would have to approve that. But since it wasn't built as brick pillars and they're white wood pillars at 7 feet, Jameson, right? Can we then renege on this and say, well, it wasn't built to what was approved and therefore we can't approve anything over 6 feet other than what was built with bricks? Help me here.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, they asked for a modification, which makes sense to me, but they didn't ask for an extension of time, I don't think. This is long expired. So,
They may not have known they needed an extension of time.
So had they asked us for an extension of time and a modification to modify what was approved here to approve instead what they presented, you still have the opportunity to say no. And in this case, what they're asking for, what's existing now, if it's too high, you can't approve it anyway.
I believe this is the more recent one.
Right.
Although it's not dated.
Well, it says modification up there.
It does say modification.
Yeah. And it does say, and you know, to your measurements, Peter, it says 7 feet. So we're going to have to either table this or deny it. But I think we're tabling things now. So I guess Derek would tell them that they need an extension of time, and that they're going to have to ask to, modify it, but they're going to have to modify the gate and the post down to 6 feet.
Correct, because there is not a pedestrian gate there. If you go back to my photograph.
Right, there's nothing there.
There's nothing there. The fencing that they have put in place of the pedestrian gate is well over 6 feet.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to table this.
I would just want to mention one thing, if the applicant is watching or does watch, at this point, they might actually want to I don't think they need to do an extension of time, and they don't need to do a modification. They should just bring a brand new application.
I agree.
There's nothing of this old application that they're trying to salvage at this point. And
right.
It will
particularly those non-dark sky compliant lanterns on the pillars. Did you see them on the drawing?
No.
No, there aren't any. They're not.
No, they're right there. See them?
Oh, on the old one. Oh.
Yeah, on the bricks.
Old back from 2013.
Yeah. I think that the new design is much improved. Just the height needs to be improved.
And they need to clarify just what you said about the pedestrian gate versus what was
right. Right, because if they do a new application, they don't even have to put the pedestrian gate in there.
Right, they shouldn't.
Okay, so we'll table this.
Table it.
All right.
Thank you.
Peter Lord, tax map number 300-167-5-2, 76 Thomas Avenue in Amagansett. I imagine that there's no one on the line other than the gentleman calling in for Elon.
That's correct, as of now.
Okay, so this would be Diane Benson.
Yes, this is an application to protect the property from deer. That's all it says. But within the drawings, Derek, there is a schematic drawing that is the most illustrative. Could you find that? It has the hedges, little green circles, and an orange for the house, and it shows the various gates. Well, anyway, they are proposing, it's not built. They are proposing a 7-foot fence that goes from either side of the house to the property lines and around the back of the house and back. The owner was there when I visited, and I was able to talk to him, and he was very agreeable to lower the proposed built fence, which is to be made of mesh, to 6 feet on the sides that face Thomas Avenue. Could you find, Derek, could you show us something?
Hold on one second.
I sent pictures and there's schematics and.
Right, and there's a survey where it's outlined in orange.
Right. Survey where it's outlined in orange is good too. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so you see Thomas Avenue, so the fence on either side of the house that faces Thomas Avenue, he has agreed to lower that to 6 feet. It's very rural there. It's not very visible at all. And he's proposing a cattle guard gate, which seems to be in keeping on this, I mean, as we're looking at it on the right side, and a trellis gate on the left side, which will go in front of what he's already carved out, a beautiful circular moss garden. That's
Well,
quite
I
special.
don't, this isn't gonna fly. We need to see what a drawing or a
Yes,
photograph.
there is a schematic, Derek, if you could find that.
And the trellis?
It's gonna be
Yes.
very
Yeah, it is.
primitive, but I'm gonna try something here. Don't judge me.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. So I'm gonna
That's
hold
the one.
steady.
Okay, so you can see there are tiny little drawings of the mesh of the fence,
There's
of the cattle guard gate, which is 6 feet, and of the gate that he is going to, gate as he proposed to build it, I think he said he's going to build it himself.
Well, it says on that, it says on there that it's 8 feet with the frame.
The frame, but the gate itself is 6 feet, and it's
But is he going to eliminate the 8-foot frame?
and if we tell him to,
He has to.
if we ask him to.
Well, it's beyond the front frame of.
Right, he understood that everything that faces Thomas Avenue has to be 6 feet or less. So I think he's talking about building this gate without the trellis, without the frame, and we could stipulate as such. And
Well, and he's also proposing that the deer fencing is polypropylene, and we would like to maybe suggest that he use a wire or a coated wire.
I wish he was on the phone. He's very agreeable, Mr. Lord. He did seem to favor this mesh fencing.
And the mesh fencing is gonna go across the front plane of the house.
Yes.
And it goes around the.
It goes around the property in front of the back property line. It's very, very heavily treed. And right now there is about a 5 or 6 foot fence running in front of the tree line, which is not here on the schematic. But that is to be removed, and those posts are to be removed, and the fence is to go behind his tree line.
It seems like there's a lot of, guessing here. So, Peter, do you have any issue with any of this if we were to just make a resolution and outline everything that Diane is saying based on what her conversation was, and that if he then builds to that resolution, we're okay? Jameson, Peter, anybody?
I think that would be okay. I mean, it's beyond or behind the front plane of the house.
Right. Yes.
No, it's not. It's along the front plane of the house.
It's just behind it. It's just behind it.
But it still can't be more than 6 feet.
No,
No,
it can be
right.
8 feet with our approval. It can't be beyond 8.
Yes,
He's asking for 7 feet on the sides and in the back. And he understands the front facing, the street facing side, that everything must be below 6 feet.
Well, I'm not going to be wanting to approve that 8-foot frame on that 6-foot pedestrian gate.
All right, well, then I mean, we can,
But, you know, it's up to
modify
the
the proposal. I
board.
mean,
Or do you want to approve that 8-foot frame?
well, given the location of the house and given the nature of the property, and if I hadn't seen this moss garden that is going to be right behind this trellis and gate, I would be less inclined to approve it. But since that is so nice and it's going to sort of frame this moss garden, and you can't see anything anyway, it's quite heavily vegetated, the property. It's sort of
Let's
rural.
run through the photographs that Diane took, please, Derek. I'm feeling a little uncomfortable with all of this.
I can't visualize it. That's my
Yeah.
only.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Okay, so on the right side of the house, behind this shrubbery, is the moss garden. You can't see it at all. So this trellis gate would be on this side of the house.
All right. So in the winter time, that sort of, you know, not really heavily.
That's
sleeped
true. It
out
would be,
privet.
it would be apparent.
Yes, right.
Mm-hmm.
There are some more pictures. Okay, this is the other side of it. This is existing, you know, I mean, nothing has been built. So I think that Mr. Lord is very agreeable to comply with our suggestions.
And why are
Oh,
we,
there's his pretty moss garden.
why are we wanting to approve 6-foot fencing on that front?
Well, I mean, I saw the deer roaming. It is very heavily, it's very, very rural there.
Yeah, 6 feet's not going to keep them out anyway.
well, so I just.
It doesn't.
Any of the, because you're at the house. So we're not in his front yard anymore. So 6 feet he can have without ARB.
Okay.
So really, I think what we're looking at here is when he goes to the 7 feet, right on the sides and in the back, and then that 8-foot top of the trellis. I mean, we're looking at it as a totality, as a project, but I just wanted to mention that.
Mhm.
The 6 feet he could have if he had everything else lowered.
And can he have the 7 along the side and the back?
With your approval.
But he can have 6.
Right.
Yes.
What's on the other side of that side of the fence? Is that another neighbor?
Yes.
Chip, you want to weigh in on this?
This is the backyard. So you see the posts, they're going to be removed. And the new fence, the 7-foot fence, is going behind this tree line of the backyard.
And how high are those posts? About 6 feet?
They're about six feet.
Why are we telling this guy what to do? Shouldn't he be filling out an application and telling us
Well,
what
he
he's
did.
asking for?
He did, and he submitted this schematic, and I think he's been thoughtful. I mean, he has the survey is when is it? It's fairly current. It's current enough anyway.
No, what he did,
2018.
what he did, Chip, was, you know, he's asking for us to give him approvals, you know, for the 8-foot frame on the gate. If he doesn't need an approval on a 6-foot, if he just does the gate without the frame. He's asking for, you know, fence posts to be 7.5 feet, which he needs our approval on. And he wants to use a polypropylene 7-foot, you know, mesh fencing. So he's asking for our approval on these things. And I'm asking you what your take is on this. Would you be willing to, give him the approvals on it? I'm a little reluctant on the gate frame. And if he wants to keep everything across the front at 6, I don't mind the 7 in the back.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
I think we should keep in mind that the pedestrian gate at 6 feet is probably not going to work. So we might want to table it then and ask him. You can't have a pedestrian trellis at 6.
No, you wouldn't have the frame.
No, you wouldn't have the frame. You wouldn't have the trellis. You just have the gate.
The frame trellis part is just decorative.
Yeah, it's totally decorative, and as I said, it's not built.
You can see a little sketch of it, Jameson, on
that one you held up.
Right, where there's the little deer head looking over the fence.
I think that's what charmed me, actually, was the drawing with the little deer head. Tell you the truth.
I saw it too. I thought it was cute.
Yeah, and he was very nice.
No, and I like his gate. The cattle gate.
Well, it goes with that, and he has that sort of Quonset hut tent feeling. I thought the cattle guard gate, sort of the whole mood of the place would have.
Yeah, it all seems rustic except for the trellis. That part I don't quite understand, but
yeah, not that one. Then the other one, Derek.
Next one.
This one, the one we're holding up?
That one. That's the one that has the little deer drawing and everything, and has the gates and
that little bar up above the gate. If we ask him to eliminate that and just have a 6-foot gate. All right. Okay, Diane, I think we got a pretty good idea of how the board feels. Let's go ahead.
Okay, good. Well, then I would like to make a motion that we accept this application to protect his property with the understanding that that both the gates and the fencing facing Thomas Avenue are not to exceed 6 feet in any way.
And that the fence and the posts and the fencing along the side and the back are 7 feet.
Or 7 feet, yes.
Not 7.5.
7 feet.
Right. Do I get a second, Esperanza?
second.
All in favor, Peter?
Aye.
Chip?
Aye.
Aye. And Betsy, aye. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on. And Michael, I believe the caller is for the next application, Elon Gabay and Lucilla Diaz Agostino, tax map number 30-103-8-28, 30 Red Dirt Road in East Hampton, and that's Diane.
Yes. This is an application for approval of the existing deer fencing and front gate, both which have been on the property for years already. We have some illustrations. Yes. Okay, this is it. This is what's been on the property. The gate itself is in fact exactly 6 feet, but from the grade to the top of the gate, it's 6 foot 6 inches. The fence is, it's old and wavy, and it tends to go somewhere between 6 feet some places and 7.5 feet. But the fence itself is on top of a 18-inch retaining wall. So when you are on Red Dirt Road and you're looking at this gate and this fence, it looks huge. And I have to say that the other properties on either side of him and almost the whole character of the neighborhood, there's almost no fencing whatsoever and no gates whatsoever.
And it looks like there's wire fencing and then he's got mesh up on top of it.
So this to me, it sticks out like a, the proverbial sore thumb. I think it's very ominous looking in this neighborhood. So even though it's been there for years,
Excuse me, Chair, if I
Is there
may,
a
we have two callers for this. I believe we have the applicant themselves and the representative. If you don't
Okay,
mind, I'll
can we
let them
take a
both
look at
in.
the survey, please? Great, thanks, Derek.
Oh, my
Okay,
version,
excuse me for a minute. Can you identify yourself, please?
Good afternoon, board members. This is John Huber, attorney with Dayton Voorhees and Balsam, 231 Quintigo Road, East Hampton. And I believe Mr. Gabai has also called in. Thank you for your time today.
That is correct. I'm on the call as well.
Great, thank you. Thanks for calling in.
okay, I'd like to interject as we're looking at this. My copy of the survey was so minuscule that even with a magnifying glass, I couldn't read it. So, so I'm seeing what you're seeing. This is a little bit more apparent.
So, Diane, let me ask you a question. The application is to approve this 6-foot gate that actually measures 6'6" from grade.
Yes.
And they're asking for approval for the, in totality, 8-foot nylon and black wire fence. And that'll post.
I couldn't get into the property, so I have not seen the perimeters, but walking Red Dirt Road and that part of the property, I think that the fence is too tall and too apparent, and I think that.
Well,
I would like to see them. I would like.
Excuse me, it faces the front road, so we can't approve anything over 6 feet. So they're going to have to take at least the 2 feet of the mesh and cut the post down to 6 if we approve the 6.
Right. But you know, I mean, the thing is, if you see the main picture again, the fact that the gate is one grade, and then the fences sit on this retaining wall, these two retaining walls. So the driveway is sort of sunken between these two retaining walls, so that the gate and the high fence and the poles, I mean, are very, very apparent.
Right. And is it because of the topography? So it's almost like a berm in a way, or is it the topography of the land? Jameson, is there anything in the code about placing fencing on top of an elevation like that, or is that just to grade the way the land goes?
If you construct a fence on top of a berm, you have to measure the height becomes the entire measurement from the bottom of the berm to the top of the fence.
Right.
You have to look at that measurement.
Even if it's just the topography and it's not a berm?
Well, it's possible
to me that this driveway was cut.
It was
cut into
exactly.
All right, let's hear from John and Elon and see what they have to say. Hi, guys, what's going on?
Good afternoon. Okay, so Elon, let's focus on the gate for a moment. The board is always concerned about keeping the height of these front gates to 6 feet. So is it possible that, do you know if the pillars are supported by structural steel inside there that would prevent them from being trimmed down in height?
Yes. It's the actual pillars are steel, they're not wood. So the gate itself is wood.
What's the gate? The gate is wood.
The gate is wood.
So board members, may I, with your blessing, if we explore possibilities for reducing the height of the gate? I imagine we wouldn't have an answer for you today during this meeting, but we could explore that and determine what our options are in terms of reducing the height of the gate.
And the fencing and the poles.
The fencing is more objectionable.
Almost more objectionable than the gate,
so
except that there are no other gates.
That is correct.
Okay, so the deer fencing that's adjacent to the gate on either side, the board would like the posts and the fencing itself to be measured 6 feet from grade where the gravel is in that photo at the base of the gate?
Yep,
So it would be, and it would be equal to the height of the gate.
Okay. And none of those components should exceed 6 feet in height. Elon, would you answer a question for us, if you may? Do you see the photo on the screen?
I do. I took the
Okay.
photo. I'm very familiar with the photo.
Okay, great. So, but you can see it up on the screen, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the railroad tie retaining wall that's on either side of the gate, is there soil piled up on the sides that we don't see?
Is there soil? Say that again. Is there soil?
Is there soil piled up on either side of that?
Yes.
Or-
So the soil on both the right and the left, it's like it's like you said earlier, the topography. So the soil kind of goes up a little bit and then comes back down. The topography of the whole, the property is like very wavy. So it's not flat, and the gate itself is probably 25 feet from the road. So this is not like you're driving past the property and the gate is right there. I mean, this is set back
25
pretty
feet,
far.
all I have to say is 25 feet is, not that far back.
A lot, yeah.
No, it's not. It's very, very visible from the road. Let's be fair.
And it's, it does have some airflow to it, but it's a pretty solid, big looking gate.
Right. Yeah, the question, go ahead.
One thought is I don't know if it would have any impact, but if we were to move the gate farther back from the road, would the board feel better about the application if the gate was further back from the road?
Where it's flatter?
Well,
Further
looking
back
at the survey,
from the
you're going to run into an area where it's wider, and then you're going to have to extend the massiveness of the gate. I was also going to throw out, maybe since the gate itself is wood, to remove every other slat and open it up. Then it wouldn't feel so wall-like. I don't know if that's doable.
Elon, do you have an objection to removing every other slat to increase the visibility through it a little bit?
I just, you know what, I need to look at it. I mean, is it the fact that it's 6 inches over the height limit?
No, it's not
Well,
that it's over the height limit. It's that it's basically 2 feet over what you don't need our approval for.
Okay.
We
So
don't
it's 2
have
feet
to.
over what I don't need your approval.
We can approve up to 6 feet, but we don't have to approve 6 feet. So we're trying to come up with a solution so that you don't have, those posts, which you're saying you can't cut, trying to open the gate up in some way and maybe taking off one of the top bars of the gate to get it down to 6 feet or a little bit lower.
I think that,
and then,
I mean, go ahead. So you,
all right,
would
and
you
then,
be asking if I
opening it
remove,
up, like excuse me, or even if you don't do every other, you do one every 2. Something just to,
I think that could work.
And of course, cutting the posts for the fence
yes, of
to
course.
be the same side as the gate.
Yeah.
So you're saying remove every 2 or every 3 slots?
No, what I had
third.
suggested is to take the top piece off, the top panel off, to reduce the height of the actual gate a little bit. Leave your posts as is because they're metal and you say you can't cut them. And then you'll have 2 slats and remove the third, and then have 2 slats, remove the third, or however the mathematics is on that gate. Understanding that you need to have the bar
so if I may say something.
Mm-hmm.
So the posts to the right and to the left of the gate are steel, and there's a steel piece that connects the wooden gate to the steel post. Are you saying that I need to cut back or cut down the actual wooden gate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what if I what if I left where the post connects to the actual gate? If I just left that piece of the wood, because I can't alter the steel beam, and then I just cut the actual gate, but I leave the piece that the post is attached to the gate.
No, and I
If you
see
know what I
that.
mean.
I
So
see
it's going to be a
that
very,
piece,
very small
yeah.
piece.
Right,
So
yes, and what
do
I
you see
was
what I see
saying
right
is,
here?
It's not, excuse me, it's not our expertise to tell you how you need to comply with the code requirement. The gate, the posts, and the fence cannot exceed 6 feet. How you achieve that is your issue, not
Okay.
ours. We cannot tell you how to do it.
however, Peter, I was suggesting to him that he also, in order for us to approve a 6-foot gate there, that to open it up a little bit. That was what my
I would
suggestion.
be
Yeah.
open.
That's a different
I would be open to that. I
Well,
would do
that's
that.
good. Okay.
Yeah, I would be fine with that.
Okay,
Okay, then
John
I
Weaver
think
here,
we
if I may jump in. Thank you.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we table this and have Elon work with, either, whoever you work with in doing this, and come back to us with a sketch of what this is actually going to look like at exactly what the heights are going to be, knowing that with the deer fencing and posts, they cannot be more than 6 feet tall, and that where they meet the gate posts, they need to be the same height.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And yeah, thank you for the suggestion, Chair Petrosky. I appreciate it. And do we, Ms. Benson,
Yes.
do you have an opportunity to discuss the additional deer fencing that runs on the interior of the property?
Well, let's take a look at the survey.
Yeah, let's do that. I couldn't read the survey, as I said.
Okay, very good. We'll have all the details called out on a revised survey, and I'll resubmit that.
Okay, great. And our next
Thank you.
meeting isn't until August 13th, so you would need to have that into the office by the 6th, which is the cutoff date at 12 noon, okay? That gives you at least 2
Very
weeks
good.
to work on this.
Very good. Thank you for your
Okay.
consideration.
All right, great.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Your consideration. I appreciate it. All right. Good night.
Excuse me, before you
Yes.
go on, could you go back to the survey? What is the fencing on the back of the property also marked in yellow?
It's 8 feet.
What is that
It's actually
for?
6 feet.
Oh, it says
It's
8
actually
feet,
6
doesn't
feet.
it?
No,
Is
the
that
survey
six
says
feet?
6 feet.
Wire fence. Are you asking for that as well?
Well, yeah, that's part of the deer fencing that the applicant is requesting approval for. I
Okay.
believe the board
So
has
that's 6 feet in
discretion
the
to
back,
approve
and
the
then
8.
around his living area is the 8 feet. Okay. We'll take a look at it when you come
Yeah.
back with the gate information.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elon. Jane Robertson, so we're tabling that. Jane Robertson, tax map number 300-63-2-14.508, Haynes Lane in Springs, and that's Peter. Is there any caller on the line, Michael?
No, there are currently no callers, and I will interrupt
All right.
when there is.
Great, thank you. Okay, Peter, if you could read into the record.
This is an application for a deer/pool fence, right? 2-inch black posts, 6-foot black 1x1 wire fence, 8 foot high. I've been out to visit the property. All right, this is out by the old Talmadge Farm, off Talmadge Farm Lane. It's a cul-de-sac area, and the fencing that they're asking for is beyond the front face of the house and extends back behind the house to the conservation easement area, and then back towards the house, enclosing a tennis court, the pool area, and then back to the side of the house on it. There are some photographs that I've taken. If we could flip through to those.
Peter, I don't have any photos for this one.
No, I'm pretty sure I sent. No.
Oh.
There should be 2 photographs, right, for 8 Hayes Lane.
Yeah, I don't even see them in my emails.
Okay, well.
Send them now.
May I ask you a question? Is it all 8 feet, or is some of it higher or lower?
No, it's all 8 feet. They're 6 foot posts, right, and they have strung wire, a single strand of wire above that, so that there's 8 feet. This is a very rural area, a lot of farmland on it. In fact, both coming and going, I had to avoid deer families.
So do you have any issues with what they're asking for?
No, I do not. I think they've done it very nicely, and I'd recommend that we accept this.
Okay, then go ahead and make a motion.
Any comments from anyone?
I just wasn't clear as to the heights. I thought you said that it was at 6 feet.
Yeah, the posts are 6 feet, and they've strung a wire above that so that the top wire is at 8 feet.
How does that work? How can the post be at 6 feet and the wire at 8 feet?
Let me.
Magic.
Or is it their 8 foot posts and 6 foot?
Yeah, some of the posts are at 8. Sorry.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I just wanted
If you had the photographs, you could see that. But
So then,
maybe they alternate 6 to 8 feet posts, and then the 8 foot posts carry the wire.
yeah,
okay.
Yep.
Then I understand.
I'd
So
like to make a motion that we accept this proposal as submitted.
Okay, can I get a second on that, Chip?
Second.
All in favor, Esperanza
aye.
and Diane?
Okay, yes,
And Betsy, aye, okay. Eric Waldman, tax map number 300-155-1-38.8, and that's 18 Merchants Path in Wainscott, and that is
Me.
EL.
Chair, if I may, there's a caller on the line, I believe, pertaining to this.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Hello,
Yeah.
caller. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, Eric Waldman is here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Eric. Thank you for calling in.
Yes, hi.
Esperanza is going to read your
Oh, thank
application into the record. Okay.
Okay. This
Okay.
is an application for deer fencing. It's between 7 to 8 feet, according to the application, with some metal posts, wood posts, and then it's approximately 700 feet along around the property. So these are the photographs that I've taken. This is at the end of Merchant's Path, which is sort of between Sag Harbor and Wainscott. So it's heavily wooded and all, feels very rural. There's another picture, Derek, of, I think, the gate. Yeah, there you go. So you can see the gate and then the black posts that are metal posts. There's some very creative posts like sticks from the woods that hold up some of the wire fencing. And my measurements that I took were that it went from anywhere between 6 feet to 9 feet. That I measured the posts being at 9 feet generally from grade. And there is sort of 4-foot fencing with then 6 to 9 foot fencing interspersed throughout.
And how high is the white gate?
That's at 6 feet.
Okay. Is that on the application for approval?
It is not.
No, it's not.
Do you have approval for that 6-foot gate? Or does he
No.
not need it because of the survey? If we could see the survey?
I don't think I need it because the town inspector was there and he looked at the gate and said, your gate is fine, but you need to get ARB approval for the deer fence that's left. I mean, the deer fence goes around less than half of the property. It's not really in a circle. So it really only protects the property from deer walking up that dirt driveway. Just a little background, the house is a 5-acre lot, which is subdivided from a 20-acre parcel into 4 5-acre lots. And the house is about 100 yards from Merchant's Path down a dirt driveway. So you can't see any of it from the road. And so the deer fence that runs along the front is what I'm requesting approval for. That would just keep the deer from walking in from that road, but they can walk in from other areas, which
They do.
Right. So, Jameson, the 6-foot gate down that road that you don't see from the main road, that's okay at 6. They don't need our approval on that, correct?
No, I actually am not positive because I can't tell from the survey.
Yeah, I can't either.
Where it is. I also can't tell from the survey, the distance from the road that we follow where the front yard becomes a side yard has to do with the overall size of the lot. And then we look at the dimensional table in the code. I know the gentleman just mentioned the size. Usually I look at the actual survey. It's not clear.
Do we have a survey or?
I don't know.
This is all we had.
So if it were indicated, I just don't want to make that call right now on the spot. I would presume if there was an inspector there who knew the location because they were there, they could verify it. But I also personally wouldn't just, take that secondhand information completely. It's possible. It's certainly possible that it would be far enough off of the front property line that it would be in the side yard based on how far back it is. That 6 feet would be allowed, but I can't confirm that.
And I also think that if he did need approval based on the location, and that, it's existing, I don't think anybody would have a problem approving that 6-foot gate there, correct?
Derek, do you have the other document that was submitted, which is a portion, it seems a copy of a portion of a survey, which has Slough Highway, in parentheses, Merchant's Path written on it?
So Derek just left.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
I'm here to do the smart board, which means
this is what I have. It was very difficult. I could only really go by what I was looking at, honestly, the documentation.
Oh,
right.
Someone just paused my screen sharing. Was that Jason trying to help me?
Nope. This is Mike Jameson. I haven't done anything.
Your screen sharing is paused. I didn't see that. Hold on, let me try again. Derek is going to be so disappointed in me. Gave me a tutorial. That's not it. Okay, hold on. Is this it? Oh.
And I don't know if this will help you in any way, actually, but
This
Mr.
difference has
Waldman,
been there
is there?
Yes.
Oh, is that a survey? No. This is not the
What's that?
property, is it?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that is the property.
That's the property. I didn't have this in my.
I don't either.
Is this your property, Mr. Waldman?
Are you showing it on the screen on?
There's a slight
Yes.
delay for him. He'll see it in a moment.
Okay. Well, just remember too, Derek wasn't in Friday and there were other staff that were, helping putting the packets together. So that could be why you didn't have a copy. It
Yeah,
wasn't.
it certainly looks like it.
wasn't ideal.
This has got to
Yeah. So, my
Yeah,
question,
that's the proposed fence.
right.
it's
So I don't have
proposed,
a
it's been there
problem
for
with
20
that.
years.
Gate, right, but Jameson, in a situation where he has this fencing that goes anywhere, as Esperanza said, with posts anywhere from 6 to 9, and there's a lot of 9 feet, what can we approve up to in an area like this that he has this fencing?
So you can approve up to 6 feet along the front here. My guess would be as you take the turn around towards the tennis court, where the tennis court is, if you look like the plane, I'm guessing that has to comply with the setback from the front yard. So once you go further north from the tennis court towards the backyard, that's when you can get into 8-foot territory.
But not 9.
And 9 is no. You don't have
Okay.
the ability to approve 9.
Well, let me ask you this, the road that you said that the fencing needs to be 6 feet along the road, is that actually a private road, like a flag lot road?
That's a great question, because now that you mentioned that, is this a flag lot property?
Yes.
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 Okay.
So you don't really know where the front of the house is.
Well, then I'm sorry.
Because if you look at the photograph that Esperanza took of this, it's a dirt road.
Yeah.
It's not a paved road.
It looks like a shared drive, not a public road.
Right.
Correct. It does look
That's
like that.
correct.
Yeah.
I take everything back. This is
Okay.
all, this is a flag lot. This is all side yard or backyard. So you can approve up to 8 feet everywhere where you're seeing the fencing, but not above 8 feet.
Okay.
So that is probably why that
Okay.
8 was, because I was thinking that fronted on some sort of road and it doesn't.
Right. Okay. So Eric, basically
Yes.
from the code, we can't approve anything above 8 feet on the fencing and the posts with your deer fencing. So that's going to need to be brought down for code in order for us
Okay.
to give you a resolution.
Okay. I'll do that.
Okay. So we could approve this as, make a motion, Esperanza can make a motion to approve this note with the fencing no higher than 8 feet. And then you would just have to make sure that you get that down to 8 before you ask for us to come back to, inspect for a C of O.
Sure, that's fine. So it's approved to 8 feet and I'll just have them knock the post down to that height. And then when the inspector comes back, he'll approve it at 8 feet.
Well, right, but what you'll have,
That-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Could I just interject? Because not all of it is at 8 feet. So if you could leave what's at 6 feet at 6 feet, that would be
Right.
great.
Right.
Yeah.
And then anything
Yeah,
that is above.
I'm not going to build it up.
No, obviously.
Thank you. So, Jonathan, can you just advise him, once he gets the resolution, if you could explain how it works with him applying for the certificate of occupancy once the work is done, please.
Sure. You will get in a couple of weeks via email a digital copy of this resolution, which the board's going to make a motion to approve, which will say something like approving the fencing on the property with the posts and the fencing not to exceed 8 feet. That
Okay.
also gets filed with the town clerk, and a copy gets submitted to the building department already, so they'll already have their copy. You then contact Derek, who will send you the resolution. You can let him know as soon as the work is completed and those higher posts are cut down to 8 feet. You let him know that you are ready to request an inspection for a final CO. That comes back to this board. And so it would presumably be Esperanza. She's going to go back out there, take more photos, and then be able to come back to the board and represent that everything has been built as per your approval. And then we send a memo to the building department that you're ready for your CO.
Okay.
And then,
Very
you
good.
deal with the building department. I don't know if that's automatic, then they just email you the CO. That part I don't actually know.
Okay. All right. I think I heard most of it. That's not a very good connection. But
sorry.
if I have any questions, I'll call Derek.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So Eric, you're basically good to go. You can do the work, and as soon as you get the resolution, call Derek and say when the work is done, and then he'll advise you how to proceed. Okay?
Very good. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. So we're going to, so
Thank you.
Esperanza, if you'd like to make the motion, please.
So I may need help on this, but I make a motion to approve this application. Let me just look at the application. Okay, to approve the application as submitted, because it actually does indicate maximum height 7 to 8 feet.
Perfect.
And I guess that's it.
Yep. So that the fencing and the post won't be any higher than 8 feet per the fencing marked on the survey.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Can I get a second, Peter?
Second.
All in favor, Diane?
Aye.
Chip?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Okay. For extension of time, Edward Petrie, tax map number 300-159-1-18-17, 30 Fieldview Lane in Hampton, and that would be Chip.
Jameson, do you have the photos?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. There's only 2, I think.
I do. Hold on.
If you can read into the record what the application is for.
Sure. So this is for an extension of time to close out an architectural review board permit for an addition to the house as it's in a agricultural overlay district. It was a second floor addition, which you can see there. It's the only second floor part of the house. It was an addition to a contemporary house. The addition was done in 2014. It appears that an architectural review board member may have visited right afterwards, and somehow through a loss of paperwork and a change in the building inspector, a CFO was never issued for this property. The applicant, Ed Petrie, is now about to sell the house, and he would like to close out this architectural review board permit. The permit really was very vague. It was really just to say that the addition was in sympathy with the existing architecture and landscape of the house. As you can see, it is. I am fine with it. It seems like a pretty straightforward situation.
Okay, so can you make a motion to approve the extension?
I recommend that we approve the addition and instruct staff to notify the building department 30 Fieldview Lane is ready for a certificate of occupancy to be issued.
Is this just for an extension of time or?
Well, it's an extension of time, but then it's also for a C of O. It's on page 4. So we need to do them separately.
Yeah.
Motion first to approve the extension of time. And everyone has.
Okay. But make a motion that we approve the extension of time on the architectural review board permit. And
all right, can I have a second on that, Peter?
Second.
All in favor, Esperanza?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Okay, then we'll move towards the C of O for Edward Petrie, tax map number 300-159-1-118.17, 30 Fieldview Lane, East Hampton, New York, for the C of O. Chip.
I recommend that we instruct staff to notify the building department 30 Fieldview Lane is ready for a certificate of occupancy to be.
Okay, can I get a second on that, Diane?
Yes, I. Second.
All in favor? Peter?
Aye.
Esperanza?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Okay, so we'll go back to the beginning of the certificate of occupancy. HBBT Trust, tax map number 300-118-1-12.74, 400 Hands Creek Road in East Hampton. Chip.
Jameson, a couple photos.
Chair, if I may, there is a caller on the line. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
it's attached to this.
Probably Tom Lawrence.
I will unmute right
There we
now.
go.
Good evening, board members. Tom Lawrence for Bolgen and Associates on this particular matter.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Very well.
So 400 Hands Creek Road is a very large, newly built English arts and crafts style estate set on about 13.5 acres. This board approved an additional roof height to the main block of the house. That's the area between the two dormers that are the two facades that are facing us with the chimneys on top of them. The entire house is 113 feet tall at that point, and it appears that we granted the approval of these 3 extra feet in 2017. There were restrictive covenants granted at that time that the property would not be divided or diminished. And I'm going to have to ask Jameson if those covenants were filed properly. Tom, do you want to say anything?
Well, of course, I'll hear what Jameson has to offer, but respectfully submit that the covenants were properly filed, and that was all done prior to the approval of the board. So
Okay, with
we are literally not.
You have a copy of the recorded covenants that you could provide for the file? Recorded with the
Absolutely.
count? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see that. I actually, when I looked at this last, what was submitted, I don't even see like a duly executed copy, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, obviously. So I would just ask that be submitted prior to, a memo being forwarded over to the building department.
We can absolutely provide that.
Okay, I'll make a note too so that I don't miss it.
We don't need to put that into the approval, do we, or do we?
No, I think what we'll do is we'll just state on the record, which we've done in the past, is that we'll just hold off on Derek sending the memo over to building, just awaiting for a copy of the recorded covenants to be provided for the file.
Okay, and what was the title of that covenant so that I could just have it from my record?
Granting that the property
restrictive, I believe.
Yeah.
Granted restrictive covenant from 2017.
Okay, so if Chip, if you could read that into the record, please,
Sure, so
when you're advising.
Pending receipt that the restrictive covenants were properly filed with Suffolk County. I think we are ready to instruct staff to notify the building department that this property is ready for a C of O to be issued.
Okay, great. Can I get a second on that, Peter?
Second.
Please. All in favor, Esperanza?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Okay. Thank you, Tom.
And thank you, one and all. Have a good rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Wayne Scott Village Associates, tax map number 300-197-2-11-1352 Montauk Highway in Wayne Scott, New York, Esperanza.
This came before us for signage at the last meeting, and I mentioned at that time that our resolution for this was to replace an existing triple wide window with a double door entry, doors to be surrounded on top and sides with 12-inch wide glass with white wood trim around the entire structure. I noted at the last meeting that, and as you see in the photograph, that the door frame, the actual door frame, has been painted by the tenant in a bright red. So I'm not quite sure what we're supposed to do with this.
Jameson, can you give us some guidance here?
Have they
Do they
not,
do-
have they not submitted anything new asking for approval for the door?
No.
No, I mentioned this to the owner, to the landlord, Philip Young, and I don't know if I guess he would be the one who would have to apply for a modification. I'm not sure if it would be the tenant.
So it's not ready for a C of O?
I would
Correct.
assume not, because I looked again thinking that maybe we hadn't specified that there was had to be a specific color for the door frame. But all the drawings that I have in my file that Mr. Young submitted, it says 2 glass doors in white frame, and
Right.
everywhere it seems to say white trim. And so I felt it was clear enough to me, even though it wasn't stated in the actual resolution, that it was, white frame door. But it seemed to me from the supporting documents that everything would have to be white.
Right.
Okay.
So probably what should have happened, we probably should have applied for the C of O when the doors and the windows were done before the tenant came in. And then the tenant could have applied to change the doors to red when he did the signs, but that didn't happen that way.
No, the tenant just
So
painted.
Right. So I would imagine that the resolution needs a modification for us to approve the red doors, correct, Jameson?
Yep, that would probably be the best way to do it for the
Okay. So we'll table this until they can make a modification to change the doors.
Yeah, do you guys want to indicate on the record for the applicant if they brought the modification at the next meeting and the CO at the same time? Are you guys okay with the red door?
I just wanted to ask that question because there are other pictures. I took a picture of the next store over, I think. Also because we did have this before us for the signage and we were looking at the lighting. And so just so you can see that entire building, which faces Montauk Highway, all the trim everywhere is white. And I find the red really jarring.
Well, I think we just need to table this and they need to let us know what their plans are because they also got approval for the sign and then they asked us to hold off the approval because they want to reconsider the sign. So if the tenant now knows that the red door is not going to be accepted for the C of O, maybe they'll do something all at once and make those changes.
Okay.
I can't vote on, I don't think we can vote on that door now until we know.
No, I wasn't, I don't think Jameson.
No, I'm just saying to Jameson, I can't say that we would approve that door or not. It would fall under context, of what they're doing with the sign. And if the name of the building, the name of the business is Red Door and they want red doors, that would be up to the board to decide if they want to approve it or not.
I wasn't asking you to vote, just to clarify. I was just asking if they were coming back at the next meeting with a red door and we're discussing it on the record, you could give them some indication. If you did a straw poll of the board and everyone said, I would under no circumstance approve a red door, that would be helpful guidance in my opinion, especially if the name is called Red Door. I would suspect that they want the door red, but
yeah, no, I know. And that's what I'm saying. I don't want to say either way until we know what the sign's going to look like and if they're changing the name of the business,
Well, I can, as I said, I repeat, I think
you wouldn't, right?
I wouldn't vote for that.
I wouldn't either. This complex was supposed to be charming, and if you look at the pictures, it looks like hell.
Well, I mean, I
does
don't
look
think
like
it looks exactly like hell, but I just think, and I'll end it with this, is that with that red door, I understand this whole building is white. The other buildings, you know, they have like one is blue trim, one is yellow trim, one is burgundy trim, and that's fine. This needs to be, I think, then kept all white. And if you throw in the red door, it just then really becomes garish.
Well, if you look at the grocery store next to it, the deli, which was the previous picture, I mean, all the windows are plastered over with, you know, advertisements, and there's no integrity to this structure.
Well, we're not really discussing that part of it right now.
Right, but I think the red doors just make it worse.
Yeah, with the cameras and the signs and the different kinds of
Well,
lights.
I would have to take a drive by and take a look at it before I could state it. So I don't know if we could get a consensus right now that we would approve that, to your question, Jameson.
Okay, let's table it.
Okay. All right. Tabled. All right. Surf Lodge, tax map number 300-27-3-14-183 Edgemere Road in Montauk. I went out to the property. This was a resolution that we approved a door that was going to go away, and a new door replace it. And I do have a photograph that I took of what it actually looks like now. And it's in keeping with what we approved. It was a single door, the relocation of a single door and the relocation of a sliding door. Those changes were associated with the removal of an art gallery and the addition of bathrooms to half the interior space, a reception area on the other side with sliding doors, which are around the side. And then where the the old door was, they just put the siding. So I'm going to so it's fine. I'm going to instruct the staff to notify the building department that it's ready for a certificate of occupancy. Can I get a second, Diane?
Yeah, second.
All in favor, Peter?
Aye.
Chip?
Yes.
And Esperanza?
Aye.
Great. Next one is Michael McCulley tax. Did I miss anybody on that?
Nope.
No. Okay. Tax map number, Michael McCulley, tax map number 300-73-5-260 Alleyway Brook Road in East Hampton. Chip?
This is an application to approve deer fencing and gates that enclose most of the back of the house. There is nothing in the foreground of the house. Jameson, do you have the photos?
Chair, if I may, there's also a caller on the line.
Yeah, it's probably the owner.
Michael?
Yes.
Hello, caller.
No, this is Jason. Hi, this is Jason Lageran. I'm calling on behalf of Richard Sperber Landscaping. We're representing Mr. McCulley on this.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, so the deer fencing it weaves through the woods in the back of the property. Some of it is wire, some of it is plastic mesh. It's on metal poles. It encloses most of the backyard. The height of the fence and the poles varies from 90 to 94 inches, so it's just under 8 feet. We're looking at the wooden gate that separates the driveway from the back of the house. This gate is 7 feet tall. There's a smaller gate on the other side of the house that's under 4 feet tall. Everything is behind the front facade of the house. The only issue I found with is that the deer fencing on the left side of the property, to the left of the house, is 2.9 feet on the neighbor's property, and that's about 16 feet of this deer fence. So I discussed with the owner who was there that he might want to move his deer fencing onto his property. And then the only other thing I discovered today when I was sorry.
We actually moved that back today. I guess that was done in error. There was confusion because the neighbor's fence was right there, so I guess they misjudged the property line. I think that deer fence has been there for many years. So we moved it. We actually moved the 4 posts back. So it's well within his property line now. Today, yeah, I have before and after pictures I could send now, or if that helps, or.
That's very helpful. And then the only other thing I noticed when I was preparing for my notes for today is that there is some fencing right in the right of way. It's like a board and post fence framing the driveway on the left and the right. And I took some extra pictures of it. Jameson, are there more photos? Eric said he added them. I need 2 more photos of fencing.
Not this.
No. Would have been something he added at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
I know he said he added it, but.
Well, here's what it is. It's marked on the survey, but there's 3 sections of fence on one side of the driveway. There's 3 sections on the other. It's very minimal, but it's not on the property. It's in the right of way between the property and the road. And it's not something that was on this application, but I happened to notice it.
Do you know how tall it is, Chip?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. What's the height of it, do you know?
Probably about 4 feet. It's like a split rail fence, only it's made out of planks of wood. It's that kind of look with posts and horizontal planks of wood. I didn't even notice it when I was there yesterday, but I noticed it on the survey.
Does the person on the phone?
Yeah, I never even noticed that.
Yeah, you wouldn't, it's so subtle.
Is it possible that it was on the survey and then at some point they either took it down or it fell down? If you both don't know about it?
No, Betsy, I drove back up there at 3 o'clock today after I read the survey.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry.
And I found it. But it took me a little, it's not obvious at all. It's sort of in bushes, and then at one part of it, there's a mailbox next to this fencing.
So James, go ahead.
But this is gonna be one of those, the applicant, the homeowner or their agent is gonna have to reach out to the highway department and see if they can,
Get a letter.
put up documentation that this is not interfering with the highway department's maintenance of this road.
Right, or to remove it.
Or to remove it, if it's there.
Yeah, we could either remove it.
That's up to you.
We could remove it, but if it's there, it was probably there.
The owners lived there, I think he told me 30 years, so there's, it's a long history of things that have happened to this property that I think he did most of them, but yeah.
Okay.
So I have the deer fencing in the back. It's just this little wrinkle of fencing by the driveway.
Well,
Yeah,
okay, so
oh, I'm sorry, may I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, hello?
Yeah, hey.
Oh, okay, yeah, I mean, I was just trying, does the fencing in the front impact the decision on the approval of the deer fencing? Because I know he's trying to close out the building permit, so it's supposed to expire in 2 weeks rather than renew it. So I was just, I wasn't sure if that affects, does the fence in the front affect? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, we can be very specific if it's okay with the board. We can, staff can contact the building department that the deer fencing that's subject to this approval is ready for the certificate of occupancy, and that doesn't include the fencing in the right of way. And I would suggest that the property owner deal with the fencing in the right of way as soon as possible. That's one way to do it if the board's okay with it. Now that we've discussed it publicly, you might get if it's not code compliant and it's not.
Yeah, I mean, if no one, if no one noticed it, I guess that we could just remove it and no one will miss it either.
Probably not.
I think that'd be the easiest.
All right, so Chip, why don't we go ahead and make a motion to approve the deer fencing?
Sure. So I recommend that we approve the deer fencing and related gates on the rear side of this property, and instruct staff to notify the building department that the property is ready for a C of O, and that we have asked the owner to remove the small fencing around the entrance to the driveway.
That's perfect.
Can I get a second on that, Peter?
Second,
All in favor, Diane?
Aye.
Esperanza?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay. Joseph and Rachel Marciniak, tax map number 300-62-8-14.2, 3 Lincoln Avenue. This was a resolution where we approved in the back 8-foot wire fence and wooden posts in the rear yard that match up to an agricultural land. And I visited the property and it as we approved, and I'd like to make a motion to approve this and instruct staff that it is ready, to advise the building department that it's ready for certificate of occupancy. Can I get a second on that, Diane?
Yes. Aye.
All in favor, Peter?
aye.
Chip?
Aye.
Esperanza?
Aye.
Okay, great. Next one is Shari and Nicholas Loeffler, tax map number 300-172-8-40112 Meeting House Lane in Amagansett, and that's Peter.
I visited the site. It has the sliding gate that was submitted, has been built as per what was approved, except the posts and fencing on either side of the gate. If we can get the photograph that I submitted up.
Can you see it? I have it up. No?
No, this is the previous one.
I have the gate up. Hold on. Eric, I need you.
There it is. Is that it?
That's it.
Can we just enlarge that photo, Jameson?
Looks like it's thinking.
It's very large on my screen. Let me try. Hold on.
Anyway, the posts on either side, there we go.
There you go.
The posts on either side of the gate and the fencing on either side of the gate exceed the 6-foot height.
They sure
The
do.
one on the left side is close to 10-foot high. The one on the right side is 8-foot high.
It looks awful.
Awful.
So
we're not approving this.
So I think we deny this C of O.
Are we tabling this or denying it, Jameson?
I think we deny it.
I would ask if we just table it.
Okay.
We'll contact them and tell them that
They need to get this down to 6 feet.
they need to, bring it into compliance with the approval.
Okay, so that's tabled. All right, so we did Edward Petrie, and the last one is Ala Shurin, tax map number 300-118-1-1-40, Peters Path in East Hampton.
Yes.
Diane.
This resolution approved a 7-foot deer fencing and legalizing of existing fencing as indicated on the approved survey with the understanding that an updated survey, because the approved survey was from 19 88 or something, that an updated survey would be provided prior to the issuance of certificate of occupancy, and it has not been provided. By and large, the new fencing looked okay, but on one side of the house, the framing of the gate is at least 6'4", not 6 foot. It's not really visible, but it is excessive. And because of the confusion of the fence of what is the neighbor's fence, what is new fence, what is, well, the new fence is apparent, but what is old fence and what is not their fence, I think we need to see this survey.
Excuse
Okay,
me,
so we
Chair,
need
if I
to
may
table-
interrupt, there is a caller on the line.
Okay,
One moment,
thank you.
please. You're welcome.
What is old fence and what is not their
Hello,
fence, I
caller.
think
Could
we
you
need
please
to see
introduce
this.
yourself to the ARB and kindly mute the speaker in the background, please?
Okay.
Hi, this is Ala Shurin.
Hi, Anna.
Hello, caller, could you please introduce yourself to the ARB?
Hello,
Paula,
caller.
can you mute your TV?
Hi. Hi, this is Ala Shurin.
Yes, can you mute your TV, please?
Hold on one second. I should mute the screen, I guess, because I can hear the noise. Okay, this is Ala Shurin with City Peters Pass in East Hampton.
Yes. Hello. Yes.
Hi.
What is the status of the updated survey, if we could ask?
The survey has been completed. I provided to Derek the PDF. I picked it up yesterday. It was completed by Walbridge surveyors, and I have the hard copies with me. I provided PDF to Derek, and that was my understanding as per his request.
Uh-huh.
Well, when we asked Derek if he received it, he said he had not. So maybe he was looking for a hard copy versus, maybe he didn't see the file, but I don't know what to say about that.
I don't know, he's not here now.
You sent him an email. When did you send it to him?
I sent it to him yesterday, and I sent him today he sent me a request to verify at 4 o'clock, and I sent him a second email. But I sent one yesterday. When I spoke to him, he asked me if it's possible to receive, I see his email right now. He is asking me if the surveyor should have a PDF copy, and he would like to get a digital copy. I did. And the survey was picked up in the building.
Is there any way you can take your email that you sent to Derek and forward it to me now so I can look at it and advise the board?
Yes, of course. Can you give me your email? I'll forward it to you right now.
So if you know Derek's email with the @ehamptonny.gov. So mine is J for Jameson, J McWilliams, MC Williams. And then the same handle as Derek @ehamptonny.gov.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you please repeat it?
JMCWILLIAMS.
Okay, JMPWIL. What was after L?
Maybe Jameson, you write it on a piece of paper and put it on.
Okay, yes, I would appreciate it. It's a little hard to hear.
No problem.
We're going old school here.
Okay,
maybe
I'm looking at the screen now.
Hold on.
Or you can email it to me. My email is very easy. It's ala.shurin@gmail.com.
Okay, I can do that too. Can you see the screen?
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, hold on a second. JMC Williams. It must be my accent. Williams at Hampton, New York.gov. Okay, sending right now.
Okay.
Okay. JMC.
Meantime, does the board want to see? How can we help?
While she's doing that, I'd like to make one quick note to the board to make sure you remember to drop your packets off if you can tomorrow or latest Monday to Derek with your files.
Okay, there's a picture now on the screen of the new fence and the gate, all of which is fine. On the other side of the house, the framing of the gate is completely framed and it exceeds 6 feet by a few inches.
The gate and I'm sorry, the fencing or the gate?
There it is. The framing of this gate and its framing are about 6'4".
Okay.
You can see it's behind very mature trees and you can't really see it from the road.
And it's behind the back plane of the house?
Yes.
Okay. So really what you're concerned about is the fencing on her property.
Yeah, you can't see from the road, but in the back, I mean, the reason we requested a survey is because the fencing was confusing as to what was the neighbor's and what was hers. Now, all the new fencing is new wood and cleanly done, and it's apparent. But some of that old fencing is still there, which is why we asked for the survey.
All right, so Jameson will take a look at it and see what's what.
I have it on my phone, so it's small, but I'm. Okay, it's definitely a brand new survey. I see the stockade fence still showing fencing on the southern property line. It looks like it's off the property, but I don't know if that is the.
I think we need to table this and have an opportunity to look at a hard copy of the survey.
Yeah.
To make a decision based on the telephone.
Yeah, I think it's difficult.
If it showed everything inside the property lines, I would just be able to tell you all that. It's inside, but I would be curious why if the surveyor is showing fencing off the property and not making a notation, neighbors fencing, then I'm not sure if this is still her fencing and it's off the property line. So if that was the issue you were looking to
yeah, that was part of the initial confusion. And
well, let me ask Aldo a question. The fencing that is shown off the property line on your new survey, is that your fencing or your neighbor's fencing?
There is some fencing that is not mine. It is there and it was there before. We didn't touch it. We only put the deer fence and fixed some of the fencing with the neighbor that was fixable. And so I don't know which line you're looking at, but on the left, on the right side of the house, I can explain. We didn't do anything that is different. We didn't even touch it because one of the neighbors have a pool and they have a 4-foot fence over there. We didn't touch it. I think it's even on my property, but I don't care. It was there before, and I never see the deer cannot come from the pool. Well, I hope not.
Well, and also too, we're not concerned about a 4-foot, pool fence. It's anything over 4.
Right, but the deer fence that was approved is a 7 feet, and we ordered the material that is 7 feet. So some of the posts may be a little bit higher because it's on the left side of the house because the property is sloped. and it's actually, I don't know why, it just keeps going down and down. So just to keep the fence even at 7 feet, some of the posts were built up a little bit higher, but just the post. I think that's what you're talking about, 6 feet 4. But the
No, I'm
fence
talking about
itself,
the
wire is
I'm talking
7.
about no, I'm talking about where the
Go ahead.
fences face Peter's path, and they are not 7 feet but
Mhm.
6 feet, which you have built appropriately at 6 feet. But on the right side of the house, as we are looking at the house now, it exceeds that 6 feet. But I tend to
But I
think it's
think the
something that we
fence,
could.
I think the fence was approved for 7 feet.
No, we would have never approved the fence facing Peter's path that's attached to the house. We would have never approved that at 7 feet. And it is not 7 feet. It has been built at 6 feet.
So what is what's the issue here? So we can all understand. If the 6-foot fence along Peter's path is at 6.
With the exception of this framing that is a little beyond 6, but I think it's
When you say
ineffectual.
When you say frame.
The framing of the gate, there was a picture of it. It was
I see. But that's towards the back plane of the house, right?
It's towards the back plane of the house, and it's behind very old trees.
Okay. So the question about the fencing off of her property, the new survey, there you go.
There we are.
I'm not Derek, but I'm getting there. I got
You're great. You're great.
Okay.
All right. So now throw that out first, Jameson.
So here's what I don't recall the conversation about what the issue was with the old survey, besides that it was old. But I thought that if Diane's comment was she was hoping that the new survey would clarify that all the fencing was on the property. See, this is on the southern line. This is why I was saying that it kind of dual fencing near the front yard and then another little bit of a dual fencing in the back. If she'd say, I mean, we've done this in the past, the ARB, if the property owner is saying that the fencing that's shown off the property is not their fencing.
Fencing.
That as.
All right, I think this is clarifying enough.
I remember.
I do too. And I think that can we then just, include in the approval for C of O, any fencing that's in the property, not on the, outside property, because that's obviously, not theirs.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could say, yeah, that the ARB is, contacting the building department saying that all of the fencing within the property lines of the applicants.
Right. It's fine. Okay.
Ready for CO.
Right. Let's do that.
All right, then I instruct staff to please contact the building department that this property is ready for a C of O, understanding that the fencing that is off the property is not to be considered.
That's perfect.
Okay. Can I get a second, Esperanza?
Second.
All in favor, Peter?
Aye.
Chip?
Aye.
Aye, great. All right, Ola, you're good to go. Thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate it.
Sending that to me.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay,
Can I
good.
just ask one question? What
Sure.
am I supposed to do right now? Is it
You, this memo memorializing what the board just said will be sent directly to the building department, probably within about a week or 10 days. I think that Derek sends a copy to you. And once you receive that, you should just contact the building department directly and ask them when you can get a copy of your CO.
perfect? Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, and
Okay, bye-bye.
thank you, Ola. Bye-bye. Jameson, can you forward that to Derek?
Yes, I'll make sure this is part of the file. We'll just have to make that physically part of the file.
Okay. All right, does anybody have anything else? That's it.
Do we not have CO for Surf Lodge? Is that not?
It was a duplication. It was only one instead of two.
I see. Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to make a motion to close the meeting. Did I get a second, Chip?
Second.
All in favor, Diane?
Yes, aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Esperanza? Aye. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
You too.
too.
All right, bye-bye.
Good night.